Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm your host Maham Khan and welcome back to another episode of IFP Connect, which is brought to you by Inside Football Pakistan and powered by Maidan. Our guest today is someone who is making Pakistan proud at the global stage. She just signed with the Vietnamese side HCM City FC and became the first Pakistani woman to compete in the AFC Women's Champions League, a role model for aspiring female footballers. I'm honored to host our Kaptan, Maria Jamila Khan. So, Maria, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Maham. Thanks for having me.
Honestly, I cannot wait to dive into your journey, your experiences, and your vision for the future of football. So, just starting off, I just wanted to ask, how are you, and how has the new Vietnamese side been for you?
Yeah, I'm good. I was there literally just 2 days ago in Wuhan, China for the semifinal of the Champions League. And unfortunately, I was not able to play the game because I was out with a muscle injury. So I was still there with the team, but I was not able to compete in the semifinal. But regardless of that, it was an amazing experience. And even my time in Vietnam, absolutely amazing.
We'll get into the specifics of the game later on, but before about the match, I just want to ask that this move to HCM City, it marks a historic moment for Pakistani women's football. So how did this opportunity come about? Can you tell us about some backstory about this?
Yeah, so I'd been aware of Ho Chi Minh City Women's Football Club for probably a little over a year. It's just I'm part of a players network, and obviously, that's the point of having a network is to be able to circulate opportunities, not just for players but for coaches and the whole football community. And Ho Chi Minh was one of the sides that kept popping up, and I was contracted in Saudi, so I was never really able to explore that opportunity to be able to go to Vietnam and play. But then I was out of contract in Saudi, and this opportunity came up, and really, like, subhanallah, like, timing was perfect, and things worked out to where I was out of my contract in Saudi. This opportunity came about through that players network, and here we are.
Oh my God. Honestly, it just, came at the perfect time and, it must have felt amazing. Acha, so, recently, 2 days ago, your team faced Wuhan in the semis. As the first Pakistani woman in AFC Champions League, talk me through your emotions, thoughts that you had heading to this match, and how excited were you?
Oh man, I think for me, ever since I ever since it was announced that AFC was going to host a Champions League competition for women, it's been on my mind, and unfortunately or fortunately, I was contracted, I was in contract, and so I wasn't able to even think about participating in the competition because the team I was playing in, did not qualify to be able to compete in the competition. So yeah, it was a competition that I closely followed, and again, when the opportunity came up and it worked out, and my international clearance went through, and I was on a plane to Vietnam after landing from Saudi. Within 2 days, I was on a plane to Vietnam, and I think for me, just being able to be on that stage and show that Pakistani women can compete at that level if given the opportunity. And I think for us to be able to just continue to cast our net about what's happening in Pakistan for women's football, and just let for now, just letting Asia, the wider Asian community know that we really do have some talented players, and we really are looking to grow our game.
Exactly. I must say that the stars were aligning. They set up the right opportunity, and I cannot imagine how gut wrenching it must have been for you when you had that muscle injury and couldn't play.
It
So now,
sucked. It
oh,
sucked.
I get it. It
It
must have been so
sucked, but
awful.
that's football, right?
True, and I think we cannot wait to see you play more matches for Vietnam. Is the season going on, or like has the season ended? What is it about the
Yeah.
Vietnamese league?
Yeah, so the season has ended, and currently the way it works in Vietnam right now, it will most likely change next year, but right now the league is closed off to any foreign players. It is focused on just Vietnamese and Vietnamese heritage players. So
Oh,
that's where we're at for this upcoming season. But again, they do welcome foreigners for the AF specifically for the AFC
acha.
women's competition. But again, it just means that during the league, a foreign player would not be able to play in those league
Oh.
games.
Oh, this is new information. Acha. So,
Yeah.
Mario, you have played for Denver University soccer team in the US, then for Eastern Flames FC in Saudi. You play in UAE as well, and right now, you played in Vietnam. So, there are multiple cultures that you have been exposed to. So, which one has stood out to you the most?
I think every country I've played in has had its impact on me. It's been a learning experience in every country. For example, in Vietnam, it's the first time that I spent time in a Southeast Asian culture. Prior to that, I've always been in an Arab culture or a South Asian culture or a Western culture. So for me to be infused in Southeast Asian culture and really get to understand them and really get to see Southeast Asian women in football was amazing, right? Because it really opened my eyes to how they're growing the game and really what they're doing with the limited resources that they have. And they're producing some amazing talent. And again, like I said at the beginning, I feel every country has really contributed positively to my journey, and it's just continued to help my learning in women's football.
This is what's amazing about football, that you were in the US, and then you were exposed to several cultures. So football brings everyone together, multiple cultures. So that's really beautiful about this game. Acha, what were the
Absolutely.
biggest differences that you noticed between football in these countries so far? Were there any surprises for you?
I think for me, the challenge that was in Vietnam was unlike all the other countries where English was spoken commonly. In Vietnam, there really is no English or very, very limited English
So how do
spoken,
you
which is
communicate with
fair.
the players and the coaches?
A lot of Google Translate.
This podcast has been powered by Madon. Madon is a pickup app you can use to play football near you. To quickly go over some of its features, the Match tab will enlist all the relevant details for you, like the location and the time. Lineup tab में आपको confirmed players की list, उनकी peer-to-peer ratings और उनके individual statistics भी नजर आएंगे. You can use this tab to join the team. Ground tab में आपको pitch information भी मिल जाएगी. Head over to the wall tab to interact with the team. The Medan app also has a create feature which you can use to book yourself a match anywhere and also to find yourself a team. The chat feature allows you to speak to other players. Your match stats can be found underneath the stats tab on your profile. हर मैच के बाद आपको एक पोस्ट मैच एनालिसिस का ऑप्शन मिलेगा जिसमें आप हर प्लेयर को रेट कर सकते हैं. Medan app also offers you benefits like cashbacks, and live bookings are set to be introduced soon. ये ऐप सिर्फ प्लेयर्स नहीं बल्कि ग्राउंड मैनेजर्स को भी cater करती है. They can use the Medan dashboard to schedule and keep track of matches. So what are you waiting for? Use the pickup app and find yourself a team, a slot, and go play football, even if your friends are too busy.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest differences or one of the biggest challenges is unlike all the other countries in Vietnam, English is rarely spoken. It's not very common, and again, that's fine, right? Like it's Vietnam; they don't need to speak or they don't need to know how to speak English. But I'd say that for me was probably the biggest challenge. Is from a football point of view, it took me a little longer to understand tactically what exactly the style of play or how the coach wanted or what exactly the coach wanted and the players around me as well. So I think because communication is such a huge part of my game, to not necessarily be able to communicate and have little time to learn, Vietnamese football jargon, it was a challenge. But again, we got through it, and I think that's what's great about football is at a certain point, you don't need verbal
Exactly.
language to play football, right? Like you're able to communicate through playing, which is great.
Exactly. Your socials really tell that you have connected so well and so tightly with the team so far. So, how did you establish that bond with your teammates, with your managers?
Yeah, I think it's before, I think for me, before even the football side of things, it's really just going into whatever environment you're in and understanding their culture, understanding their stories. I think really just spending time with players and getting to know them on a personal level, I think for me really helps contribute to synergy on the pitch and you wanting to play for that player next to you. So I think maybe the first couple of weeks it was really just getting to know my coaches, getting to know my teammates, and just really understanding their story and where they came from.
But it's all good now. Acha,
Sorry.
I'm saying it's all good now, right? With the
Oh yeah,
teammates and
all
all, it all
good.
worked out.
Yeah, all good.
Acha. So, what can Pakistan's football, generally can learn from these countries and adopt, and what philosophy that they're being used there?
I think before anything, it's really difficult to, take what works in another country and make it work in Pakistan because Pakistan is so unique in its own way. I think once we, have elections and, once a new governing body is appointed, I think just really being able to identify key principles of what we want Pakistan football to be is going to be important, and then just really building off of that, right? And really focusing on our domestic football, right? Again, yes, I've played domestic football in Pakistan, and yes, I've played in the national team, and so for me to just be able to see where we are domestically, it hurts, right? So because I know, there's hundreds of girls that could really benefit from a domestic structure and boys, right? We don't have it on the men's side either. So I think once we, hopefully get in a good position, structure wise within the federation, we really need to make sure that the domestic side of things is a priority.
True. In Pakistan, football works a little differently. There is a lot of political influence. So, if we combat that influence, I think the domestic league will do wonders.
It will. Again, it won't be easy at all. Again, it's going to be really important to identify what those key principles are for the federation and what the key pillars and priorities are going to be. So again, I think all of us players are hoping that whoever comes in makes sure that domestic football and grassroots football is a priority.
Inshallah, it'll get better.
Inshallah.
So, now covering the national team side of Maria Jamila, the tournament is around the corner, the AFC Asian Cup. It's in June. So, as captain, what are your key goals for that tournament?
Our key goal is to compete. We're tired of just participating and just showing up to tournaments and wishing for the best. I think it's important for us to be able to raise our level as players, right? We need to hold ourselves accountable and make sure that despite what's happening, politically and everything that's happening on that side, as athletes, we have to cancel out that noise because we control our physical fitness, we control our mentality. So I think for me, it's just making sure that we as players are really controlling the things that we can control. And that includes our fitness and just being ready to be called into camp whenever that might be.
Achan, are there any preps going on? Is there any update about the camp?
Everything's in the air at the moment, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll know something soon.
Wish things were a bit more concrete. Must have been easier for you guys then.
Absolutely, but again, this is the beauty in the struggle with Pakistan football.
They go hand in hand.
Absolutely, it wouldn't be Pakistan football if there wasn't a little bit of struggle.
That's the beauty of it, Acha. In the SAF Championship, Pakistan had a really good 1-1 draw against Bangladesh. We almost thought it was a win if it wasn't for that, late equalizer. Bangladesh is a tough opponent, so we almost thought it was a win. So, as a captain, how did you feel about that match? Do you think the performance showed that the Pakistan women's football team is improving, and that they're ready to face bigger opponents in the AFC Asian Cup?
Listen, it was a great result, but we have to look at the wider competition and again just hold ourselves accountable. If you take the game before that, we lost 5-2 to India, right? And that's not good enough. And if you kind of track our record, right, we really struggle in that first game of competitions. And so, again, that's something that we're going to have to fix for the qualifiers because we play the top ranked team first, right? We play Chinese Taipei first. So we need to make sure that we learn from what we've done in the past and make sure that we do not start slow, right? We really need to set our tempo and play our game and not use a whole 90 minutes to figure it out.
Acha, Amaya, now we'll get to our segment, which is the rapid fire. It is just, a bunch of questions where you have to answer instantly. So, okay, it'll be fun.
All
Acha,
right.
the first question is, who would you say is your best friend in the Pakistani national football team?
Ooh.
A lot of thinking.
I have it. It's here. No, it's here. I just don't want to say it.
Oh, acha, we'll let it
We're
slide.
going to say no comment.
Okay, acha, if you could change one thing about football in Pakistan, what would it be?
Oh, I lost you again. Hello?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Acha, if
Got
you
it.
could change one thing about football in Pakistan, what would it be?
I wouldn't change anything. It's our reality. It's the hand we've been dealt, and it's part of our journey.
I love the optimism.
Yeah.
Who was your football model growing up?
Brianna Scurry.
Oh, favorite thing about Vietnam so far?
The hearts of the people.
Which opponent do you find more annoying, trash talker or diver?
Diver.
Favorite movie?
Remember the Titans.
One football rule that you could change?
Oh, one football rule that I could change. Foul throw-ins.
Favorite club?
Arsenal.
Do you follow any other sport?
No.
An advice to your younger self?
Oh, that's a good one. Don't be scared to be told no.
When approaching a new technique, what do you think is more important, innovation or the repetition?
It's got to be both.
Your go-to cheat meal?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
If you could name
one. Definitely can't go wrong with a burger and fries.
And last question, chai or Vietnamese coffee?
Chai, all the way. All the way.
Okay. Wonderful answers. So getting back to our main set of questions again, football is a sport where you have to take your physical and your mental training simultaneously, since you have a lot of expectations plus the comments, because women's football is generally really prone to criticism from many areas. So how do you stay motivated in that environment and maintain a growth mindset?
It's about a player's ability to cancel out the noise, right? A lot of people are going to talk shit, and that's just what people do. And you have to be the one to take responsibility of how you react to things, right? And again, it goes back to controlling what you can control. You have to control either canceling out the noise if you can't handle it, or again, it's you hear it, you listen to it, and then you react, and you can either use it as motivation or you can use it as something that's going to pull you down.
Totally. If you listen to those voices, it'll just affect you and it won't affect the others around you. It'll just ruin your game.
Absolutely. Nobody cares about what they say. Again, it normally hurts more the people that are on the receiving end of it. So again, it's about how you receive it and how you control how you react to it.
And sports can be very reactionary. I follow a bunch of sports, and if a team is doing really well, the fans are appreciating. And the moment you have that first fallback, they're on the bandwagon to throw you off. But in that, I think players need to cut out that noise and just focus on their game. Do you believe so?
Absolutely.
Is it the case?
1000%. Like you said, cut out the noise.
Totally. Again, you are a strong voice for body positivity in sports, and that's incredible. We need people like you. And football is a field where athletes often face unfair scrutiny, and not just football, generally women in sports. So how do you balance being a top footballer while also championing self-love?
It's hard. It's been a journey, and it's something that I'm still figuring out and still navigating. But I think the biggest part for me was, again, that positive self-talk and making sure that I'm my biggest fan and understanding that there needs to be a balance between performance and your nutrition. And a lot of times for me in the past, I would always sacrifice my performance to make sure what I thought was the right nutrition. But now that I'm older, and have educated myself on nutrition versus performance and how to fuel for performance, my mindset has changed quite a bit. And it's one of those things, like I said, it hasn't been easy. Social media doesn't help. Comments from naysayers, people on the outside, it doesn't help, right? There's always going to be those insecurities of, oh, how do I look in my uniform? Have I gained weight? Or, oh, am I too big to be playing football? Or, oh, I'm going to be slow, or this or that. And, on the other side, people feel like, oh, I'm not strong enough, or, oh, I've lost too much weight, or I struggle to gain weight. Like it's not just women, right? It's men as well. So I think for me, it's been, again, really that education element of it, of just really understanding fueling for performance, and whatever happens aesthetically, let it happen aesthetically. And you just kind of got to release that, right? Because it's out of your control. But what you can control is how you fuel. You can't, and how it will impact your performance. You can't control how it's going to make you look.
Totally. That is so inspiring about you, Maria. I love that you have this energy. You love the sport, but you're thinking beyond that as well. So that is truly, truly incredible. Personally, if I follow Maria Jamila, I think what the thing stands about you the most is that you're a set piece specialist. Your free kicks and your corners are absolutely dangerous. So, can you walk us through your preparation for, these dead ball situations? Do you follow any specific routine? Do you practice any specific routines? Or is it just about, reading the game in the moment?
No, it's something like those results and what you see is conversions of set pieces. That work happens on the training ground of constant repetition. That's all it is. It's something that I've practiced for a very long time, and I consistently practice and consistently try to be consistent. That's something that is something that I really do focus on as part of my game, is just being able to consistently hit the marks on those set pieces.
As they say, consistency is the key.
Absolutely.
Okay. So beyond the AFC tournaments, what is your ultimate dream? Is it, trying a shot at coaching or growing the sport here in Pakistan, or just, anything else? What does the future hold for Maria?
Oh, it's definitely not coaching. I don't think I have the patience for coaching. But I really do, after, what we've gone through and experienced in Pakistan. Again, I know there's been a lot of people who've been a part of Pakistan football for a lot longer than I have, but for the part that I have been a part of it, I think for me, it's really, I was speaking to my husband the other day, and it's so funny because we were just talking about, the Champions League experience, national team experience, and all that stuff. And after being on a continental stage at the semifinal in the Champions League, and just seeing that stage and realizing that I belong, for me, it was like Pakistani women, South Asian women also belong on this stage and can compete on this stage. And I was just joking with my husband, and I was just like, I really believe, give us like 15, 20 years or however long we need, but really we have the potential to really do something special with Pakistan football. And I think for me, that's probably something that I would love to be a part of, is really help continue to develop the sport in the country, because I've seen it in so many other different countries, and I know what we have, and I know the quality that we have in Pakistan.
Exactly. Pakistan, even men's and women's football, both of them have
both.
insane talent. It is just that we need to utilize that potential and give them that platform that they represent Pakistan
Absolutely.
globally. And lastly, as an advocate for female football, what is your message for young Pakistani girls who are following you, following your journey, and are being inspired by you? What more do you think needs to be done to ensure that these young girls have a better pathway in the sport?
I think it's try to, because again, we know how important the parents are at a young age, right? And that's a big challenge that we see in Pakistan, right? Is the support from the family or, the extended family, etc. That's something that a lot of our girls really struggle with. And so I think if we're able to really educate not just the players, but educate the families and the parents that your daughter is in a safe environment, and just because she's playing football doesn't make her a bad or harami or anything. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's that's
I get
not
it.
what you know what I'm saying. Like that's not what football does. And I think the more we can continue to just educate and make families and parents feel that their daughters are in safe spaces, I think we then have the potential to not remove, but again, try to work at removing a barrier that we have in the country.
Totally. Do you have anything to say to the Pakistani fans as the AFC Asian Cup is approaching? Is there anything that you want to convey to your fans?
Nothing apart from what they do best, and that's continue to support both men's and women's national teams. And I think it's easy for people to point out when something's being done wrong, but also people need to remember that they don't know the full story and they don't know everything that's happening. And again, as athletes, you're always going to be at the mercy of fans and it's something that comes with the territory, which again, I understand it's part of the game, etc. But people just need to remember they don't know the full story. So if you want to support us, both men's and women's teams unconditionally.
True. We are going to support you through thick and thin. Thank you so much for joining us, Maria. I'm absolutely honored to host you. We're all rooting for you and cannot wait to
Thank
see
you.
you lead our girls in the upcoming matches. And I just want to say that go and make Pakistan proud.
Thank you. Inshallah.